Welcome, everybody, to Taking Control, the ADHD podcast. I'm Pete Wright, and I am here with Nikki Kinzer. Nikki.
Woo! Hello.
And there was much rejoicing.
Yes, hello, welcome.
How are you
Hi,
doing?
Pete Wright.
How are you doing? You feeling good? Feeling strong?
I am. I'm feeling good. I don't know how strong I'm feeling, but I feel good.
Want to arm wrestle?
No.
Well, we are gonna be talking about fitness today. We're gonna be talking about wearables and apps and all sorts of good stuff. But first, we're gonna talk about a little follow up. You had started. You really opened up several. I guess now it's been a couple months talking about what's going on in your life, and you have an update.
I do. I have an update on my son and his school situation. And I thought, I shared the world with my challenge. And last week we talked about, turning problems into possibilities. And so I thought, well, what a great time to follow up with what was a problem or a challenge with this wonderful, update with this possibility that happened or came true, I guess is the way to say that. But he's doing great. After, I guess, Christmas break, right before Christmas break, he was still really struggling in math. And, we had spent so much time getting him to study and preparing him for the tests, and to come back and see that those tests were still really low was so discouraging, not only for him, but for us too, because I really felt like, he had grasped the information and all that stuff. So anyway, we went on break, and the Monday after break, I called the principal and I said, I really need to talk to you more in depth, because this would have already been the second conversation that I had with her about this whole situation, and really talk about our options, because this just isn't working. And so after doing some digging and coming up with a conclusion, we really felt that the best thing for Jaden was to actually go down a level in his math class. And, when I talked to Jaden about this, he was not happy.
I can't imagine. That's be very disappointing.
It was very disappointing, and he felt like he was being demoted, is what he said. Those were his words. He was being demoted, and he was very concerned about what other people were going to think, of course, because he's 12 and he's in 6th grade, and that stuff matters. And so we kind of talked him through that, about what to say or what not to say, or what he needed to say, or what, that he really didn't need to say anything if he didn't want to. So we sort of kind of guided him through that piece, the peer piece of it. But after about a week, I asked him, how's math going? What are you thinking? He's like, oh, I'm so glad we did this. He was so relieved. And he feels so smart, because he's like, they're about a chapter, or not a chapter, they're about a whole block behind. And so it's not like it's a less math class in the sense that they're learning different things. It's just that they're learning it at a different pace. So not quite as fast. And so where they were at, he was doing a month ago or whatever. And so he felt so smart. I know this, and
for him now, he gets the opportunity to kind of feel like a leader. He knows his stuff now.
Yes. And it gives him the opportunity to really cement what it is, that those foundational, principles that he needs to have to move forward. And so really pleased, and just checked his grades this week, and he's getting an A+. Now, granted, they're not taking all of the assignments from his old
that he missed
class. Yeah. And so it's just a handful of assignments. But what's so cool about that is that even when he only had a handful of assignments in the last class, he wasn't getting an A, he was getting a D. And so just for him to see that, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 9, big, huge smile and confidence. And so anyway, that's been really great. And I've been just really happy to see that. So, fingers are crossed, because as we all know, things happen.
Yes, and they happen fast.
And if it's not school, it might be something else, because
That's right.
he's going into puberty, and there's a lot of emotions and a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I thought I would share that with the listeners and just say, things are looking up. So
well, and I love that too. There's a broader lesson, that when you feel like you're really being stretched, where you feel like you're being challenged to the point of overwhelm, there is real power in being able to take a step back, and in Jaden's case, it's just a month. You step back a month, and you get yourself back to a place of center. I find that too. I'm a musician. I play the piano, and sometimes when I feel like I haven't practiced in a long time, and I sit down and play something that I played in high school, or college, that I haven't played in many years, but realize I can still play it. It's that refreshing reminder that I haven't lost that much.
Right.
There's a reason we put ourselves in the place, and sometimes stretching yourself too much is.
It's not always good.
It's not always great. So that's a great lesson.
Yes.
All right. Well, shall we talk?
And I finished the Breaking Bad series.
Oh, well, that's the biggest news of all. Why'd you bury the lead on that?
I can't remember. I know I finished it last week when we spoke, but I don't think I ever mentioned it. But yeah, I finished that. But now I'm on a new thing.
What's that?
The podcast serial.
Oh, good. About time.
I know.
Are you just riveted?
I am. And it's interesting because I've been listening to it while I work out, which I know is crazy. So I'm so glad we're talking about fitness. This will be a good transition. But yeah, I listen to it while I work out. And what's so cool about it is that the time goes by so fast because you're so engrossed into the story that, you're not really paying attention that you've been on the elliptical for as long as you have.
Totally. Totally. I listen to most podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts, as you may be able to imagine. I listen to a ton of podcasts. And Serial is one of very few that I listen to on regular speed. Most podcasts I jack up to, double speed so I can, listen to more. But that one, I have to take it in just as they present it. It is so good.
Okay, so I'm confused. This may be a stupid question, but what do you mean double speed?
Well, on many podcast apps, you can increase the speed of the podcast that you're listening to. So, for example, I use...
I know that.
Yes, it's really, really great. So, I use, for example, Pocket Casts. That's my podcast app of choice, and so I subscribe to everything in there, and you can change the speed to 1.5 speed or double speed. Just about every podcast app has this option to be able to change the speed, on the playing screen, and so, for example, even in Apple's podcast app, as you're looking at, there's a little speed 1x, and if you tap that, it goes to 1.5x to 2x down to 0.5x, so you can actually listen to them slower if you really like them. So
are you talking about so if people are listening to us right now on double speed, or are we talking really fast? Are we fast talkers? Yeah.
But what's funny is that you really acclimate to it. I do the same thing on Audible. I listen to all my audiobooks on an increased speed because your brain acclimates to it. And if you're in a kind of a quiet space and you can find yourself really focusing on what you're listening to without a lot of sort of oral distractions, then listening to it on a higher speed really is no impact at all. And some speakers speak very, very slowly. And so speeding it up to double speed, it's they're practically speaking as fast as you are normally, and so it works really, really well.
So some people out there think we're really fast talkers.
I think we're really fast talkers. I listen to us on double speed.
And we're fast.
Oh, yeah.
We get right through this.
We get right through it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, good. I learned something new.
Well, happy day.
Yeah.
Happy day.
Yeah.
To learn
so
something
that's my new thing. And we'll see how long it takes me to zip through that.
Well, now it may take you half the time. Luckily, there are only 12 episodes. So, but I find myself really, sucked into it now. I'm super interested in just the news, the serial news. What's going on with this case now? Because
don't tell me because
there's activity in the media,
right?
So,
it's exciting. So, I was very excited about getting into something new that.
Good for you.
I can obsess over.
Yes, totally.
Kidding. That's not the case, but it is interesting. So there you have it. So let's go to this fitness thing. What do you have in store for us? Because this excites me. I'm excited.
Well, I'm glad. I hope so. We've been talking so much about mindfulness, over the last few weeks, and as we've discussed before, so much about how we feel is impacted by how we feel in our skin. So, are we doing the things that we need to do to keep our engines running and our bodies healthy? So,
probably not.
Yeah, probably not. So, I thought we might look today at a few of the top technology tools that help us track our diet and activity and see how, how monitoring can impact our lives. And I do track, and I think I've gotten to the point where I'm tracking just what I really care about and the things that I really care about. But you can go so far with this data and the kinds of stuff that you track about your life and what you eat and what you do. And so that's where I thought we would spend our time today. What do you think?
I think it's great.
Awesome. So are you using any sort of tracking?
I've used, 3 different types of tracking devices or apps or whatever. I was on Weight Watchers for a while, so I used their Weight Watchers app, which tracks everything. And then I also used the app Lose It. I've used that before. And then I had a Fitbit for a short period of time, but it got lost.
That was a problem for me in Fitbit because the original Fitbits, they were either clip-on, they came in these little rubber things that you put on your belt, and they were just little tiny pills. And that was the first Fitbit I had, was the little pill, and you'd put it in the little rubber thing and put it on your belt or in your pocket or something, and it would invariably fall out. And I can't tell you the number of times that I would be mowing the lawn, and I'd have to, I'd lose my Fitbit somewhere in the lawn, and I would be crawling with my phone across the grass to try to get a signal, to try to, you could make it beep, you could make it buzz with your phone, but you'd have to be really close to it for it to pick up and buzz through Bluetooth on the phone. And so it was an embarrassing product for me personally, crawling across my yard.
Well, right.
Fitbit really is the biggest company in this space, right? They've been around a long time. They sit on, 69% of the wearables market right now. And so odds are if you meet someone with a tracker on, they likely have a Fitbit if they've been tracking for any length of time. The current top of the line for Fitbit is the Flex. It is another pill-like tracker but it sits in a bracelet. So when it's advertised, you see the bracelet, and it looks like it's a bracelet, but it actually is the little pill, and it pops out of the bracelet for charging and syncing, that kind of a thing. But the bracelet makes all the difference. Being able to plug it in makes a huge difference. Comes in lots of fruity colors. It is largely considered one of the more accurate trackers on the market. So, accurate by meaning, is it when you take a step, is it accurately reading that step, or does it count 2 steps or 3 steps? There are, many of these sort of second tier trackers are not accurate in that way. So at the end of the day, you feel like, oh, I took 17,000 steps today. And that does not represent your overall activity. So Fitbit is largely considered kind of one of the most accurate. It doesn't have any sort of altimeter in it, so it can't tell you how many steps you've climbed, for example. Some trackers do. But, it really is, I think, augmented well with the app that comes with Fitbit that you put on your phone. So, Fitbit it's a well-known company. It does have some challenges to it, which I'll talk about in a minute. The other big dog in this fight comes from Jawbone. Now, Jawbone is a speaker and headset company in their DNA, but in wearables, they're really the plucky upstarts here. And thanks to this sort of leapfrog nature of technology, they are right now the leader in this space, if only just by a hair. So it is another bracelet device. It tracks. It's considered, when compared to the Fitbit, it tracks equivalently, so it is considered extremely accurate. But both the Up 24 and the Fitbit Flex track sleep. Right? So at the end of the day, you can put it in sleep mode, and it'll track how restless you are when you're sleeping. And that can be really useful data, right? If you, particularly when you look at the correlation between weight loss and good sleep.
Right.
You want to lose a few pounds, get to bed at 9:30. You will be stunned at how much weight you lose when you get good sleep, which is wonderfully ironic to me. I think about that every day. I'm down 0.5 pound this morning, and look at that. It's because I went to sleep at 9:30. I did nothing. I literally did nothing to lose this 0.5 pound. It was fantastic. Anyway, so they both offer an alarm to wake you up in the morning, both these devices. The Flex offers a buzzing alarm that wakes you at whatever time you set. But the Up 24 offers a smart sleep to wake alarm, right? It wakes you when it senses you're at your lightest sleep, right? Around the time you set that you want to wake up, there is a window, and it says, okay, I'm going to look at your sleep. I'm going to start buzzing you very lightly. I want to wake you slowly so that you don't just jar up out of bed. So the idea is if you're not jarring up out of bed, you won't have that bleary-eyed feeling, of when you roll out of bed. You end up waking, when nature at a point where nature really would wake you. And so it's those little features, right? Those little things right around the edges of the design that give the Up-24 the lead in design. And, I think that's the one that is seeing a lot more press. The Nike Fuel Band has been around forever with legions of fans. It's another bracelet, but what it tracks for you overall activity, it tracks in the form of fuel. So the Fuel Band knows when you're walking and running and dancing and doing parkour around the city and all the activity that, according to their website, you do. That activity is munged into one number, right? It's the fuel number. So this makes it super easy to start comparing stats with others. My fuel number is 3,000, and if your fuel number is 4,000, I know you've been more active than I have. If we were just comparing steps, I wouldn't be able to necessarily see, were my steps bigger than yours? Did I cover more distance?
What you did?
Right,
like if
exactly.
it was running or right. Okay.
Sure. And so, the fuel points, that has been a way for Nike to normalize activity across the device, and it really works well, particularly in creating virtual competitions, races with others through the Fuel app. It's very slick, but you have to adopt the language of Fuel to truly fall in love with it. So. Now, all of these things are made so much better with the apps that come with them, right? And so all the devices have an app. Nike has an app, Fitbit has an app, Up has an app, and they sync via Bluetooth LE, right? This low-energy Bluetooth. It syncs your activity data to the device. And once you do that, you can start tracking more of your, specialized activity and your diet, right? So are you using anything to track your diet right now?
No.
Why not? I'm not. No judgment. I'm
I'm just really
just curious.
Inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like I'll do it for a day and then I don't do it again.
Yeah.
Like I just am so inconsistent that sometimes I'm kind of at that point right now. It's just like, well, what's the point? I'm not consistent.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally get it. And that's one of the benefits, obviously, of having these wearables that allow you to track things without having to think about them. And it is a new and very difficult habit when you have to start tracking on your own. But what I love about all these apps is that, for me, they allow me to separate my intention around health. Well, you've talked a lot about intention. So I'm not a doctor, obviously. There's a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, but I've had lots of health issues with doctors.
But I play a doctor on TV.
Right? But, yes, I play a doctor in their office. It's very confusing. Based on my own, healthy issues and research and my experience, this is how I'm living right now. So I used to work out to lose weight. Right? So guess how much weight I lost while working out. And this was like last year, for the duration of the year. How much weight would I have lost?
I'm just going to take a guess that you probably, I think I know where you're going here. So
it's a loaded question.
It is a loaded question. If you intended to work out to lose weight, but then you're asking me kind of in this funny way, like, how much do you think I lost? Come on, tell me, how much do you think?
Triple dog dare you.
Yeah. I'm going to say you didn't lose as much as you wanted.
I didn't lose any.
You didn't lose
lose any weight. I didn't change my diet, right? Because I was already eating, I didn't change my intake, right? I was already eating well, right? I was, gluten-free. I was, for other issues that I had to deal with. Like, I had changed my diet, but I was taking in the same amount of food that I normally take in every day. And then I went to work out. And maybe I saw in the very beginning a little drop by a few pounds, but generally I went back up to that. Now, the results at the end of this was, I was stronger. I was more fit. I could run farther. I could do more things. So that's really great. But it was only when I started to track my fitness and my food that I started to see this correlation that fits the latest research that my doctors were sending me. Weight is determined largely by diet. Health performance is determined largely by exercise. So you want to get stronger? Go work out. You want a stronger, more healthy heart? Go work out. You want to run farther and be less sore over time? Go work out. You want to lose weight? Eat better food and less of it. That's it. It ends up being really, really simple. And for me, using the apps that come with these wearables, and in fact, I settled on one you've already mentioned, Lose It, in the iOS App Store, which I love. It also has a web program as well. When you go for the premium app, it's $39.99 a year, and you get access to all sorts of features that let you track your intake and set goals around the kinds of food that you want to eat and the kinds of nutrients that you want to make sure that you have in order to reach your weight goals. And for me, that ended up being the secret sauce. And I mean, it's immediate. It is immediate. You start seeing the weight fall off. It's
wow,
like magic.
I'm inspired now. I should probably start tracking it again. And I know the nice thing about Lose It, and for me, was that they do save. You have this inventory of your most common foods and stuff. Yes. So, I typically eat one of two breakfasts in the morning. And so, it is easy once those are entered to be able to just click it and say, okay, that's what I had. And then they do the calorie count and everything already on there for you. So, okay, interesting. Well, I knew that. I know what you're saying is true because I remember reading something that like 80% of weight loss is your diet. Mm-hmm. But how do you get into the habit of tracking it consistently? Because that's my biggest thing. Like, I'm really good for like a day or two, and then I just sort of go off the wagon.
Yeah, it is. It's really difficult. But the nice thing is that you don't have to track it forever to learn the lessons that you need to learn, right? And I think that's the thing for me that's so important. Mm-hmm. So for me right now, Lose It is, and many of these apps have these features, but and so when you pick, like right now, my recommendation would be, and this changes depending on the TikTok of technology, but my recommendation is the Up 24, and so you use the Up 24. You can look at the Up app. It's really great. The Up 24 also ties into Lose It, so all of your exercise, your fitness data can sync right into Lose It, and then once you are looking at that for your fitness data, it's really easy to make that next leap and say, okay, I'm going to set a goal around hydration. I want to build a habit around hydration. I know I need to drink more water, so I'm going to set a goal and Lose It that I need to drink, 5 12-ounce glasses of water every day. It's something I don't do. I need to just set a goal and do it. And when you set a goal around it, there is an internal trigger that I think is set that kind of helps you motivate to open the app to do it. And you don't have to do it forever. You just have to do it until you find yourself naturally drinking water every day.
Right.
Now, for me, the food thing becomes kind of a game. I really like the food tracking because the way it works to track food, you can, first of all, the library of food is very large in Lose It. So just about anything you search for, you will likely find. Mm-hmm. You can create, like you said, you create meals and then you can just re-enter those meals. And then when you're out and about, you're at a grocery store or you come into the house and you think, I'm going to eat a serving of, such and such. You can use the camera on your phone or, tablet or iPad, and you can scan the barcode of whatever product you're about to eat, and it will tell you, okay, you're going to eat this. One serving of this is this many calories, this much protein, this much fat, etc. And you can say, okay, I'm going to eat maybe 2 servings of this. I've had a good day, and so I'm going to go crazy with these crackers, right? And so now you're tracking. It's very, very easy to get the stuff into the app, and so I find that's a nice way to build the habit. But the other thing I do and did at the beginning was just I set a reminder. Every day at noon, I have an alarm that goes off that says, hey, check your food and Lose It.
That's a simple
to remind you to do it and do breakfast. You can also pre-scan, if you have a really predictable week and you're going to eat one of 2 things for breakfast and one of 2 things for lunch and one of, you can actually schedule your meals so that you can say, okay, I know what I'm eating all week. I know I have no meals out. I know it's very, and then all you have to do is edit, if you make any changes, which is a really nice way to go.
So did you upgrade Did you go to the upgrade?
I did. I did the premium.
And you're glad that you did that?
I am. I like all the extra goals. I like all, I set a ton of goals, and goals around, hydration is one of them because I'm terrible about drinking water. But in terms of extra performance goals, I mean, there's just a lot you can do. And finally, you can earn bonuses by fitness because, the way Lose It tracks your fitness, you can go in and say, did you hit your 7,500 steps on a given day? If you did, you start earning more calories back. So if you want to go have a killer dinner, that's all right. Just go, walk some more, hit some more steps, and it'll tell you how much you can afford. So for me, it's a gamification of health that really has been working for me. I love it, and I love the way all these devices tie into the apps. And my app of choice right now is Lose It, but there are so many. I do have one more. This is sort of a public service announcement because I got this question from somebody else on as I was doing my research. Where do I stand on the wearables from like Apple Watch is getting all of the all the current buzz right now is right around Apple Watch, and that brings up Samsung Health and Google or Android Fit. These are the platforms from the device manufacturers that and the Apple Watch is going to have all the fitness tracking stuff built into it that will sync with Apple Health. I really like Apple Health. It's an app on the latest iOS 8, and it allows you to have kind of one place that tracks all of your health data, not just your steps, but it does track steps, particularly if you have an iPhone, I think 5S or 6. You just carry your phone in your pocket and you're tracking your steps through Apple Health. It'll tell you.
Yeah, that's great.
It does that automatically. But all these apps will share their data that they collect with Apple Health. So because you can put in doctor information and reports and other things into Apple Health, it's really nice to have all these apps and devices that sync with Apple Health. So, even though I'm using Lose It day to day, I can open Apple Health with my doctor and say, here is how my health data integrates with my latest physical. Fitbit, this is the one problem I have with Fitbit. They announced that of all of the app manufacturers, they are not going to support integration with Apple Health. So you have to get a third-party app called like Fitbit Sync or something, which, these third-party apps that help syncing engines, they tend to be, temporary at best. Somebody's going to break it on one side or the other. And so, I question that. Jawbone Up syncs with Lose It, but also with Apple Health. Lose It syncs directly with Apple Health. So you're creating a health ecosystem. And for me, it works very well. I would say the same thing on Android. Google Android Fit. Make sure that the device and the app you're using, if you want to use this broader fitness ecosystem or a place to have all of your fitness data, make sure that the device you buy, the wearable that you buy, actually syncs with that ecosystem. So that's that.
Fantastic.
What do you think?
I am inspired. I'm going to start tracking.
I think you should. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I got to see if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good thing to remember, like what you said, you don't have to do it forever. And so, just to get it just do it enough so that, these habits that I want to instill just eating wise, stick.
And once you know what your breakfast is, the impact your breakfast has on your day, once you know your regular lunch impact on your day, you can start making some decisions instinctively without putting in every day,
right?
About how you're going to handle your night. If I want to, like I said, I had a big dinner the other night. I knew I was going out with some friends, and we were going to a wing joint, and I wanted to be able to really enjoy my wings and have a beer and enjoy my time. So, I knew where I needed to go light. I needed some heavy protein in small snacks throughout the day, so that I could kind of earn that dinner. And that just for me, that really ends up working well, and still be able to see weight loss every day. Just
Love
a little bit. Yeah. I should add one last thing. Scales. There are these wireless scales that also, work with Lose It and various apps. The Withings scale, the Healtho. Oh gosh, see now I have lost it. The health meter scale. I'll put it in the show notes. But these scales, so you can step on the Fitbit Aria or the Withing scale, and it will, it'll tell you, here's how much you weigh. Sync that wirelessly to your phone. But it also can do like a body mass calculation, runs a little charge through your skin as your bare feet hit the scale. Like it can do some pretty significant things. It is really amazing. So if you want to get serious about it, one of these scales is a pretty slick way to go. So that's all I have.
My scale's broken right now, so maybe I'll look into that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's a good time to do it.
And I didn't throw it out the window. It didn't get broken that way.
My scale's broken. It's under my car's tire. How did that happen? I don't know how that happened.
No, very good. This was great. Good. Thank you, Pete. Good stuff.
I hope so. I hope this helps, folks. Please let us know if you have any questions. Find us on Facebook or Twitter. You can reach out to us at Take Control ADHD on Twitter, Take Control ADHD on Facebook. We're just pretty much everywhere. I'm Pete Wright. On Twitter, we'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to the show on iTunes for free. Make sure you don't miss an episode, or your podcatcher of choice, like Pocket Cast, so you can listen to us super, super fast.
Sorry, because we're really fast talkers.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer, I'm Pete Wright. We'll see you next week on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast.